What's up, Dilly Gang? Touch. You just got to touch. Coming to the Dilio TTK channel. I'm your host, Dilio. Shout out to the Dilly Gang. In this video, we're going to talk about if you know this, if you understand this, you will not need validation as a creative person. If you understand this, you will not need validation as a creative person. As a creative person, you think about the response that you get. Family and friends, you post on your personal Facebook, that's the main place. Or your Instagram, no one following. And we live in a world where we want to give you that fast fix or these fast steps or a turnkey solution that may take some time to get you the numbers that equate to validation. That's what we live in. We live in a world now where if we don't got the right numbers, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm not going to talk to you like I don't focus on this, and I don't focus on it too much sometimes. That's my humanity coming through to you on the lens. Let's not forget that. Which leads to my next point, that humans require validation. It is a human trait to require validation. And when certain things look a certain way or when certain things happen a certain type of way, then that equates to validation. And then when they go way the other way, now we feel this anxiety and stress because we're not seeing the numbers look the way that we think that they should. It doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. What's wrong? And then we search for the answers as to why things aren't happening in the way that they should. But the truth of the matter is that if we understand some of these things, we won't need to worry so much about validation ever again. And it is a practice thing. It doesn't mean that once you know this, that you will implement it and then boom, you're fixed. This is a process. This is a thing that takes experience. It takes reminders and it takes struggle. And it takes grind. That's why you gotta love what you're doing first. Because what happens is that sometimes you're not gonna feel like messing with this creative stuff. You're not gonna feel like making beats. You're not gonna feel like creating content. You're not gonna feel it. And if you rely on that motivation, then that will prevent you from continuing to execute the things that you could do that could lead you closer towards your dreams and goals. There's an interesting thing that I've read in a very popular book. You probably know about it. And it talks about how a prophet is not respected by anybody at home. Prophet got a lot of respect all over the world, but at home, he's just a regular person. By family and by relatives and by people who know you that you grew up with. And that stems from a level of familiarity, and it's a two-way source because you know you're familiar with these people, then somewhere along the line there is a narrative or a dialogue that said they're supposed to respond like this because they know me. But the truth of the matter is that they're going to respond like that because they know me. I expect them to like, comment, share, circulate what I do because of their familiarity. But in essence, the reality is, and the truth is that they could do the opposite way. And I think if you jump to a conclusion too fast, then you can create a negative narrative of how they see you. They don't care. And let's face it, people may not actually care about what you do. They may not actually care. And it is in that care that we look for is where we think we're going to get validation from. But that's not the case. That's not the case. So for me, the best decision on that point when it comes to people who are familiar with you is to not come to a conclusion. Why spend time trying to create a narrative or to try to have an analysis or have data off of something you don't know anything about, We forget that we don't know everybody's situation. And you don't know if what you do and what you're good at makes somebody else mad. But they're trying to be nice and not say it. They're trying to be nice and not show jealousy. It may make them feel like they're not doing enough by you doing what you're doing. And it's easier for them not to say anything at all as an adult than to try to say something to cut you down, or may give them a better dopamine hit to talk about you negatively behind your back than to say it to your face. And the truth is to remember above all that is that you don't know. So this comes to a point to where you need to stop looking in that direction for validation. Because you're going to get validation, and it first has to come from inside, but you're going to get validation. But experience tells us that it's not going to come where you think it should. That's okay. That doesn't mean it's not going to come and that it's not available for you. And once you understand your value more, then you'll need validation less. What do I mean by that? Once you like what you do and you believe that what you're doing is special, and it may take you some time to believe that. Or it may be hard to believe that because you don't think you're that good, or you're just starting out, or you've been at it for a while, and you're incredibly good, and you have a great sound, and you always have a capacity to grow, and then things don't look like the way that they should by the time you spend in it. It's easy to lose sight of the validation that you have of yourself. It is easy to look at what you're doing as something that's not special and not important, solely based on validating numbers, validating analytics. And that's a mistake. And it's okay to make the mistake, but identify that mistake and do a different action and think differently. And on top of that, when you have to force feed what you're doing to people, hey, check this out, check this out, check this out. The validation is never genuine. If you have to outwardly ask for validation and someone gives it to you, depending on the context of the situation, but for this example, it's not genuine. When you have to ask for it, it's not genuine. Please tell me you like this track. Please tell. No, it's not real. So don't worry so much about asking for validation. Validate yourself first, and then know that this is a whole big old world, and it's a whole big old internet. And there will be people there that'll try to trip you up for sport. It's human nature. It's the internet. It's the world. That's normal. But don't marginalize and devalue those that do show up and support you. Although how maybe there little is, or maybe there's nobody any there to support you. I've seen it where there's like a lot of people there checking you out, what you're doing, and then it go down to zero. And as a human being, you feel that difference. And it's okay to feel that and keep going. You have to keep going no matter how you feel. Because once again, if you rely on how you feel to determine the choices that you make, human being, made that mistake, then you prevent yourself from doing the things that you need to do to move forward. There will always be more people in front of you than behind you that do not know about you, that like what you do, how you do it. The only reason why you don't have people really giving you props or showing you love for what you do, of course, this is a different environment now. Everybody's trying to share and do their own thing and put stuff out. But there will always be, in my opinion, because of the way things are set up, there will always be more people that don't know about you that actually like what you do and how you do it as you do it in your natural state. And I understand the pressure to go after the validation by changing who you are, changing your tone, or doing something that you think somebody else does that makes you feel like, okay, if I do this like this person and I get that result, okay, I see that. It's a legitimate thought process technique, but that's not quite the right way to do it. And it will always take correction. It would always take time to really build that. So once you know this, once you understand human nature, once you understand that people who are familiar to you are most likely not to give you the validation that you think you should receive, then you'll be in a better place mentally to keep focusing on what you need to do to get yourself to the destination that you want to get to. But you have to remember this stuff. You have to remind yourself stuff. You may have to watch this video more than once. But I think it's very important to remember that. So that way you're not angry at anybody for being silent. It's very easy to create what they're thinking in their head. They ain't said nothing to you. Then get mad at them because they're not acting the way that you think they should. And then now you have anxiety about stuff that you don't even know that's true or not. Don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake. Stick to what you know. And if you want to know, ask. And if the person you're asking isn't telling you anything, move on. And let them know if they change their mind. Hit me up. As my dad would say, I'm not going to sit here and beg you. That's something that he said. So with that being said, I'm Dilio. You're watching Dilio T2K. Shout out to the Dilly Gang. And one more thing before I go. Touch! All right. Peace out.